Oh, hi, Glenn Kirschner. As I
Hello.
asked,
Hey, Steph, I'm a rock and roll junkie. I really am. And it would probably be really bad form if I sang along with my own jingle, wouldn't
on my show, anything goes.
it? Yeah, okay.
Brian Williams may frown on that, but listen, I asked you, is justice coming, Daddy? Is it?
It's coming. If you close one eye and you
Uh-huh.
turn your head to the right a little bit, you can see it. It's coming.
Is it wearing a pink hat?
Glenn, you made all the same points on Twitter that we were talking about this morning. You just said Trump confirms Putin procured attacks on U.S. troops, but dismisses them as not many. You just said Trump says nothing about holding Trump accountable, regardless of what the circumstances are. And I don't think, Glenn, it is believable to anybody that the president was not briefed on this.
Yeah,
right.
Of course. Rick Grinnell, the acting DNA for a minute, said, I didn't hear anything about it. And then Ratcliffe, the aptly named Ratcliffe. Remember, he's the one who lied about prosecuting terrorism cases because he prosecuted 0 terrorism cases in the short time he was a U.S. attorney out in Texas. But he then issues a statement swearing up and down, nobody ever told the president about this. Nobody ever told the vice president about this. And then Trump, Steph, as you mentioned, he tweets out, well, Putin may have done this, but there weren't many attacks on our U.S. soldiers.
Not many dead soldiers.
There was a tweet from one of my friends that I prominently featured on my YouTube video last night, and I just want to read it. It's a woman named Maria, and she said, Trump is a traitor. He's not worth the blood my son left on the battlefields of Afghanistan, and I have a shirt with a bullet hole that I would like to show Donald Trump's defenders. I mean, it's great comfort to Maria and her son that, Putin wasn't successful in killing many of our troops.
Yeah. I was just going to say that. I retweeted her as well, Glenn, but that you're right. Just that comes as a great comfort, I'm sure, to the families who've lost somebody that it wasn't. They were one of the not many. I mean, and you make a further point, Glenn. You said if Ratcliffe is telling the truth that he failed to brief Trump on Putin paying for the murder of U.S. troops, he must immediately resign as he's endangered social lives. If he's lying, a safe bet, he should resign. Either way, he's made himself a marquee defendant come 2021 when hashtag justice is coming. Okay. And you went on to say Russian compromise will be exposed in 2021. Some Republicans who are now silent and subservient will break, flip, and talk once they're facing life in prison. As we say, pressure bursts the pipes. Hashtag justice is coming. This is what keeps many of us going, Glenn. You said justice will crash down on Trump and his band of traitors. It is hard to, especially in your justice mind, that you could get away with this much crime and treason and blatant corruption. I mean, what else can you call this? Isn't this the definition of high crime, what we're talking about?
And who thought Iran would be the country with good sense, because they just issued an arrest warrant for Donald Trump for the murder of Khashoggi. Did you see that?
Oh.
So first of all,
Iran and the Cheneys are now the good guys.
I guess Iran didn't get the OLC memo. And what's this world coming to when we can't arrest our own criminal president, but other countries can?
Yeah.
The nerve of them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And you said Trump tweeted out a video of his supporters screaming white power, and he thanked them. No further commentary necessary. And this is the world we live in. Nope, I didn't get briefed. Nope, I didn't see that. Really? 8 seconds in, someone screams white power, and you didn't know that when you retweet. It's just, Glenn, are these denials going to hold up? Because that's what he says for everything. Fake news.
Yeah, no.
Didn't know. Didn't know him. Didn't hear it.
I think he loses supporters every day. He doesn't attract one new voter to his base. And as you said a minute ago, the only thing that explains the Republican silence in the face of a president tweeting out white power videos and excusing Putin for killing American soldiers, the only thing that explains it to my small gutter kid from Jersey mind is compromise. Because what else would keep the Republicans' mouths shut when this is what an American president is doing to the people?
You don't even know what he was I said earlier, Glenn. So he's distracting from his treason with his racism again, which has been like a Flintstones background. You're just like, oh, Charlottesville. Oh, that's distracting from what, Ukraine? Okay, that treason. I mean, it literally is this treason, that racism, this treason, that racism.
Yeah. And at least in Charlottesville, there were good people on both sides. Now, apparently, it's only good people in the golf cart screaming, white power, white power.
Right. So the latest reporting from the Washington Post that we obviously talking about, Russian bounties offered to Taliban-linked militants to kill coalition forces in Afghanistan are believed to have resulted in the deaths of several U.S. service members, according to intelligence gleaned from U.S. military interrogations of captured militants in recent months. The intelligence was passed up from the U.S. Special Operations Forces based in Afghanistan, led to a restricted high-level White House meeting in late March. Again, no credible way the president, vice president, and chief of staff were not involved. The meeting led to broader discussions about possible responses to Russian our allies were briefed, like Britain. There is no, I mean, Glenn, you're a prosecutor. How does any of this hold up? I mean, and where does this go, do you think?
Well, it goes to court beginning in January. And what we have to do, Steph, and the criticism will come. And I say, bring it, bring it, bring it, because we can't decline to do the right thing for fear of how the wrong people will react. We will be criticized when we begin an apolitical, nonpartisan, scorched earth investigation of all of today's criminal politicians. And what we do is we present all of the evidence to the grand jury fairly and fully. When I was a prosecutor, we were required to present not only the incriminating information, but we were required to present the exculpatory information, the information that might cut against the criminal responsibility of the person or the people we were investigating. We call that Brady evidence. Now, the Supreme Court has said we don't have to give that to the grand jury, but Department of Justice policy, which we will revive in January, says, yes, you do, because it's the right thing to do, because the grand jury, sitting as the conscience of the community and deciding who to indict, what to indict, on what charges, they deserve to get it all. That's what we're going to do beginning in January. And then we're going to let the grand jury, let the conscience of the community be our guide with respect to who gets indicted. I predict you are going to see the largest criminal conspiracy indictment this country has ever seen, because these criminal politicians have earned it.
So we just missed last week when I was on vacation, obviously the Flynn ruling, the Barr obviously interfering in SDNY way sooner than we knew. This is the Glenn Stack, Janet. What's that?
Berman.
Oh, Berman. Yes, the Berman firing, that whole fiasco. Okay, so Janet with a question for Glenn when he's on your show. Glenn, Barr interfered in Trump prosecutions at the AG Southern District of New York far earlier than was known. Barr pressured to have closed the Cohen case, in which Trump is individual one, as recently and in the two Ukrainian Giuliani cases. My question is, if Barr had all of Trump's New York cases closed, one, can they be reopened by a new attorney general? Two, what happens when those closed cases if Biden is elected? Three, will Trump never be tried and convicted for all his abuses of power and corruption? Janet wants to know.
I think the answer, Janet, is yes, yes, and yes. So first of all, if a investigative team or a prosecution team closes down an investigation, that investigation can always be revived. And often over the years, I will suspend an investigation because I don't have enough evidence, and then something else comes to our investigative team, and we reopen the investigation. The only time an investigation or a case is closed permanently is if it's in court, charges have been brought, the judge dismisses those charges with prejudice. Now, with prejudice means the government has done something so horrendously unethical that the judge says, I'm attaching prejudice to this case, so double jeopardy will prohibit the government from ever rebringing it. No investigation can be closed with prejudice. It's always subject to being reopened. So yes, these investigations will be reopened. They'll be given a full, fair, apolitical look. Charges will be brought. And to answer Janet's third question, I believe to my core, Trump will end up in court as a defendant, convicted of criminal charges, and in prison.
Oh.
You look angelic. I didn't think you could look angelic. That was nice, though.
I hear, well, I in my own head hear a heavenly choir every time you come. It's like the angels have floated you down onto my show and into my FaceTime. Okay. Or maybe it's just the blue eyes. I don't know. My point is, okay, so what about the Flynn and Stone cases? It's Nancy Pelosi says, right? All roads lead to Putin. I mean, every single case, and here we are back at Russia, back at him committing treason with Russia, which is how he was illegitimately installed in the first place. But so what happens now with Flynn and Stone?
So Flynn, I think it's a 50-50 proposition as to whether he will finally go to sentencing or whether Judge Sullivan will dismiss the case, regardless of what procedural posture it's in, either now or after there's been some more appellate litigation. Frankly, if I had to pick one, I hope his case gets dismissed, because then, come January, the entire case can be revived, as we were just discussing.
Okay.
And Mike Flynn, remember, when he pled guilty to one count of lying to the FBI, he admitted under oath in his written statement of the offense that he committed a bunch of other crimes. He admitted in writing that he filed a bunch of false documents with the Department of Justice in furtherance of his illegal lobbying scheme on behalf of the Republic of Turkey. Those are additional felony crimes that he was given a pass for as part of a combination plea agreement, because he pled guilty to that one count of lying to the FBI, and he was supposed to cooperate against the president. So trying him for these felony offenses come January will be like shooting fish in a barrel. So I actually hope that the case ends up getting dismissed. We rebring it in January, and we go whole hog at Mike Flynn for everything he's done. But here's the thing, Steph. The way Bill Barr is treating Mike Flynn's case, trying to get rid of it, trying to do an enormous political favor for Mike Flynn on behalf of the president, that is a slap in the face to every single defendant in this country, whether that defendant is being investigated, is pending trial, is pending sentencing, is serving a sentence, or is on probation or parole. Because none of those people, the vast majority of those people, are not influential, connected, friends of the president, rich, old, white guys, the way Flynn and Stone are. It is a slap in the face. It's not just a favor to Flynn and Stone. It is a gut punch to every other defendant in this country.
Yeah, well, I know it means Zelensky's testimony, all that. I think you're right, Glenn. This, at some point, this has got to pass partisanship into just a basic sense of American fairness. These, you don't get a break, because you're only if you're a friend of the president. That's not what America was founded on. It's not our justice system. And I have to hope that you're right, Glenn, that when we do this, they're going to see the difference between this and phony partisan investigations like Benghazi and whatever, Hunter Biden, and the emails and all of this stuff that they know there is no there, right? That they just were clearly Obama spying on me and all the stuff they're trying to gin up. This stuff, I think, Glenn, you're right. We have to. It is our rule of law. It is not partisan or vengeful. It is. We just cannot say, oh, well, that's all over. Let's hope that doesn't happen again. We have to be sure this doesn't happen again, right?
And we're going to get back to normalcy, because think about during Obama's 8 years, notwithstanding the ridiculous Benghazi investigation, I'm fine with them investigating it, in a rational way, you can't hope for an apolitical way, because the party in power in Congress is going to go after the other party. But give it a full, fair investigation, even taking politics into account. They indicted nobody. Why? Because there was no criminal conduct. 0 indictments in 8 years of the Obama administration, 37 indictments in the first couple of years of the Donald Trump administration. But here's the thing. In the Obama administration, we were a rational government. I worked for a rational, fair, honest, ethical Department of Justice. We can and will get back to that under Joe Biden. And I'm so heartened that Joe Biden said no pardon for Donald Trump. Implicit in that statement is he did crime, he'll be investigated for crime, and there will be no pardon. Yeah. We are on the road back to justice.
We got to go Project Lincoln on their ass. We just, no more Merrick Garlands, no more, We're not going to impeach. We're not going to investigate. We're going to move on. You know, America's long national nightmare is over. You're absolutely right. Not this time. It is time for the future Attorney General, Glenn Kirschner, for the heavenly choir to take you and your blue eyes away and then bring you back here to us on this celestial plane again very soon, I hope.
Thanks,
I hear that song when the angels got together and decided to create a dream come true. It was you, Glenn. Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah, you don't heal by declining to hold people accountable for their crimes.
That's
you
right.
never tell an assault victim or, God forbid, a rape victim the way we're going to heal is to decline to hold your attacker accountable.
Yeah, just move on.
You heal as a nation by holding these wrongdoers accountable, plain and simple.
All right, you do something just really untoward to me, Glenn Kirschner. It's your patriotism. That's what it is. I salute you, sir. See you next time.
See you, Steph. Love you.
I love you too.